Hi, welcome to the Negro Justice League, a Black Nerd podcast, episode 81. I'm your host, Cherry.
It's your boy Jay.
And this week we have Chi Chi back in the house. Chi Chi, say what's up.
Hey, everybody.
Thank you for joining us again. On this episode, we're going to be talking about the Lego Movie 2, the second part, Alita, Battle Angel, and Russian Doll. Well, first, we're going to get into some news. First and foremost, we didn't actually report on this when it happened. I don't even know why. I guess we were trying to figure out what was going on. But Jussie Smollett, from Empire, I guess that's what y'all know him from, reported a few weeks ago that he was attacked in Chicago in the street by two Trump supporters wearing MAGA hats, and they poured bleach on him, threatened his life, put a noose around his neck, and he somehow managed to get away with a black eye, well, with a busted eye, bruised eye, and yeah. So we come to find out Chicago PD's been investigating this, and it's looking like it was a hoax. It looks like he paid two extras from Empire to help him stage this. And the rumor being that he was getting kicked off the show. Chicago PD is still investigating, but this is what it's looking like. And I know I personally am livid. Like, just to know that we live in a climate that we live in where it's basically Trump supporters versus everybody else. For you to put out something fake, and you know the president's big on fake news and try to make it seem like the media is against him and the media is false, for you to deliberately add something that is just completely fabricated to that really grinds my gears, and it rubs me the wrong way. I don't know how y'all feel about it, but I'm hot. Like, it makes me so mad.
I think for me, the biggest issue was the fact that from the beginning, there was always something that seemed a little bit off, but you just don't want to say he was doing this for like views or whatever. So now that the evidence comes out and it's clearly something like this, how could you not be upset as a black person?
Yeah, I mean, it did look weird for a black man in Chicago walking down the street to be randomly attacked by Trump supporters is odd in and of itself. And then that they called him types of N-words and types of gay slurs based on Empire was odd to me, because why would two Trump supporters be watching Empire and recognize Jussie Smollett walking down the street, right? But
Exactly.
we tried to believe it, and here we are. So I'm just, why would you give them that is what bothers me. But moving on.
This is the type of ammo they didn't need, definitely.
Right. So according to Curtis Jackson, aka 50 Cent, he was threatened by an NYPD commander, police officer, NYPD cop, who basically put out to his officers that, hey, if you see 50 Cent, you need to shoot him on sight. And that's quotes, shoot him on sight. Now this, knowing 50 Cent and his reputation, I don't think this is a lie. I think that this is true. And 50 Cent is threatening legal action. And if you know anything about his history with the law, he will sue somebody through the ground. Like, he don't play about that.
With the quickness.
Yeah, like if you don't believe that, Google up what's going on with him and Tierra Marie. Yeah, so that is, I don't know what happened to make them want to kill him, but we're gonna see. I'm just interested to see how this plays out. I'm really rooting for 50 Cent and hope that he is able to sue the police essentially. So we'll see how that goes. Jay, you want to go ahead with your news?
Yeah, so as you know, Oscars doesn't have any host for like the next ceremony, which they haven't had a host in over 30 years. So one of the things they're trying to do is kind of have non-Hollywood stars appear and do things. And one of the things they're going to have for Best Picture nomination is Serena Williams to present,
I think that's ridiculous.
which is pretty. Yeah, I was like, shout out to Serena being able to host, but why?
I think they're so afraid of. after the Kevin Hart fiasco, they're just terrified of everybody's dark past and they don't know who to ask. So they're like, let's just go outside of Hollywood and get who we can get. I don't know. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, but Serena Williams will be introducing picture nomination. There's other actors and stuff like that's gonna happen. I don't watch the Oscars, so I
What?
don't know what's gonna happen. But
You have to watch it.
nah, I can't watch it.
We gotta watch them snub Black Panther.
I'll be there on Twitter. That's about it.
You already know.
Speaking of what something came out on DC Universe, which is the next series for the DC Universe streaming. Just like the previous ones, are only releasing an episode or two a week, but after that, you'll be able to catch the full stream on the sites, or if you're out of the country, you'll probably be able to catch them on Netflix. If you don't know what Doom Patrol is, it's an old DC series that was kind of based to make fun of Fantastic Four, but Brendan Fraser's in it, and it's on DC Universe, so I guess we'll talk about it if it's good. And then lastly, Cap No Cap. Colin Kaepernick and Eric Reed have officially settled with the NFL in regards to their collusion claims. Word in the street is the amount they're being paid, or at least Kaepernick is being paid, is close to $80 million. And if, for those who don't know,
Goodness.
this was a suit placed in the fact that the reason Colin Kaepernick was not hired back into the NFL is because the NFL decidedly, between the owners and organizational staff, decided not to hire him. He was blackballed. So he won that one. That's what's up. Eric Reed helped, and we'll see where it goes from there. Jared?
All right, so that's it for the news. We're gonna go into our analysis. I want to say just in general, covering Lego Movie 2, Alita, and Russian Doll. Jay is the one who picked the content for this. Minus Russian Doll. Russian Doll was me, and I want to say that if it weren't for me, this whole episode would suck. But
Wow. I actually liked, you know what, whatever. All right, let's go ahead.
No, I just want to say that to make Jay mad. So, let's talk about Lego Movie 2, the second part. The title, I'm not making that up. The title is really Lego Movie 2, the second part. I don't know why. I guess they thought the redundancy was funny. I thought it was kind of confusing because it makes it sound like Lego Movie 2 has two parts, but it doesn't. So, if you watch the first one, there was a huge thing about everything being awesome. And it's a song and it's a thing. And so for the second one, I guess the theme is that everything is less awesome, and that's okay. How did y'all feel about this movie in general?
I'm gonna let Big Chi Chi get it off first. Go ahead.
No, I didn't finish it, but I did watch the first one, and it kept up with the tone of the second one. And I mean, it was okay. It was okay.
I'm gonna be real with you. The first Lego movie, I think, was a hit because no one expected it to be good. So that's why it was so popular. This one, people kind of know what can happen. This is like the fifth Lego movie in the whole universe, period. And I didn't need a second one. It was all right, but it wasn't. The story didn't need to continue for me.
Yeah,
I agree with that part.
I'm a fan of the Lego movies when they're about other movies, like Lego Batman. But when Lego, and they do well with that, when they're redoing a existing story, they do well with the adult humor, kid humor, graphics. But when they have to tell their own story, they have nothing to say. Maybe they did for the first one. For the second one, they ran out of plot. And so that's what makes this movie a struggle. Like, it'll be a movie that your kid will watch 20 times because it has catchy songs and glitter and the graphics are good. And it has an extraordinarily simple plot minus the time traveling that kids can really sink their teeth into. But as an adult having to sit through this, I wanted so badly to leave. Like, I couldn't, but I really, really, really wanted to. And,
Yeah, you're at theater. I mean, the first one was good because the ending, you found out who was behind the Legos and imagination and things like that. The second one, it didn't need to continue. Like, it really did not at all.
I think that's also the main reason of my issue with the second one is now that like this is based in the
Mm-hmm.
real world and it's
Mm-hmm.
the first one that was kind of like a twist that was kind of cool. This one, it's a part of the whole storyline. It's a part of visiting the family, and it's boring to me. It's just boring. I didn't need to see the Lego characters dealing with their god, so to speak, and
Mm-hmm.
the whole story about this being basically about brothers and sisters getting along together. I get it. Like Cherry said, kids are gonna love this, but it's not something as an adult I want to spend 2 hours of my life watching.
But we did. Well, y'all did.
Yeah, and the Lego movie, part of their thing is the pop culture references because they use the Legos. Legos, if you have the toys, they're based on popular characters, a lot of them. And so they do that in the movie, but I think they rush past their pop references so quickly that you can't catch them all, and I think it's to their detriment. Like one movie we covered, Ready Player One, which had even more references. Like every second of that movie was a reference to something, but I felt like it gave you more time to recognize, okay, this is this is that, this is this. The Lego movie, they blow through characters like, I mean, it's an instant. They'll show you someone and then they move on, and like 5 minutes you're like, oh, that was Harry Potter. It's. I think it was too quick, and they miss a part of the movie that could have actually been good.
Exactly. I think like one of the things they made a huge thing about the fact that Gal Gadot was going to be the voice actress for Wonder Woman instead of Goldie Smothers. You only hear her for like 30 seconds. They did this whole thing about the Justice League. You hear Aquaman do his bro scream. They're only on for 10 seconds. The main pop culture reference they wanted to stay on was Chris Pratt. And I like Chris Pratt as Star Lord, but he's not that interesting to
Yeah,
have a literal plot all about him talking to himself.
I don't understand that. Yeah, Chris Pratt's interesting, but he's not that. This movie was kind of about Chris Pratt, and I didn't understand what that was. That was weird. It was weird.
It was very weird. It was almost like, is this because now he's a star, so he's asking for more time? What is this? Because the whole movie is about him growing up, him going from Andy from Park and Recreations to Star Lord, him going from being a fat slob to being a macho man. Like,
That's what it was.
how is
Yeah,
this funny?
and how the Macho Man's really not great. I don't know. I don't know what that was. I don't know. I was like, Tiffany Haddish is in this movie, and that concerned me because we were kind of getting overexposed to Tiffany Haddish, and she could be a bit obnoxious. I think that they did a good job in this movie having her a bit more subdued, um, and it wasn't as loud, and she did well, and it was weird to me though that she sang so many songs when she's clearly not a singer, and they could have. I guess they had Tiffany Haddish for the name, but
I
it's a
feel like
musical.
right. I feel like the reason they had her singing because when you have Tiffany Haddish as the name, but she's only able to act a little bit as a character, how else do you get that Tiffany Haddish action, so to speak? So her singing badly is kind of allowing her to have that craziness, but it just again it doesn't really translate well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, what are your favorite? What's your favorite moment from this movie? I know Chi Chi only got to see 30 minutes. Was there anything in the 30 minutes that you saw that you liked?
Yeah, I mean, the explosive hearts and the the explosive hearts. Those are the cutest things,
I like the
and
glitter.
how the big monstrous Lego had, they were just so evil. But that was it. Those are the cutest things to me. You know.
Yeah, I like the glitter.
I think the glitter. The best moment to me, I want to say, was when Tiffany Haddish character, the evil queen, and Batman were singing to each other. that was kind of fun to me because I like Will Arnett's version of Batman. So it was fun to see that interaction, but that's the only thing that really stood up to me as being enjoyable.
My favorite moment, and if you're an NJL fan, or even if you listen to the last episode, it was like an NJL Easter egg in the movie. When you're first introduced to Tiffany Haddish as the evil queen, you see a blonde haired chick sitting on top of a unicorn, and you think that the blonde haired princess looking girl is the villain, but she's actually Tiffany Haddish's assistant named Susan. And I was like, what? They gave Tiffany Haddish a blonde hair, blue eyed assistant named Susan? And I was like, this is great. And that was the only part of the movie that I like. So other than that. Because y'all know about Susan. Susan listens to the show. And she thinks it's about
Shout
her.
out to Susan.
Not you, Susan. You gotta put that on the shirt. Y'all want not you, Susan shirt?
Not you, Susan.
All right, we gotta move on. Oh, we gotta
Those
grade
will
it.
sell so well.
A through F. Susan gonna get one. A through F, J.
I'm gonna give it. I'm probably gonna give it a B. It wasn't for me, but I know the fans of the Lego movies, they're gonna enjoy this. So I'll give it a B.
Chichi, do you want to grade it or not?
I mean,
Incomplete?
I would give it a C, or okay, I would give it an I for incomplete. But I know, based off the first one, it was going in the same direction, and I would have struggled to watch it myself. So probably a C plus or an I.
I gave it a D. I just hated it. It was fun to look at, the little Legos and their mouths moving and stuff. But my goodness, it was painful. I really hope my son doesn't latch onto this on Netflix and want to play it again, because I will leave the room. I can't do it. And that's after I've seen at least 2 other Lego movies and liked them. But this, like, I know I like Lego Batman. That was good. This,
Lego Batman, I think, was the only real good one.
so I don't know if I've seen it. I feel like I saw another one too, but I don't know. This was torture. Never again. If there's a 3, I won't be there. Y'all can be reviewing it by yourselves.
I was about to say, I was hoping there won't be a 3, but it'll probably will be.
There'll probably be a 3, because the kids in there were loving it. And they talked and sang through the whole thing. When you heard "Everything Is Awesome" broke out, it was like a choir in the movie theater. It was painful.
Hey! After I saw the first one, I was singing that song at work too. So
I like the other song better.
You need to tap into your.
I don't think
you need to tap into your inner kid.
Did you make it to the "This Song's Gonna Be Stuck in Your Head" song?
No,
that song was good. It was actually a pop song about the song being stuck in your head. It was actually not that bad.
Okay,
but luckily it's not stuck in my head because I can't remember where I go. So we're gonna move on to Alita Battle Angel, Jay's second choice for this episode. I think he did this to me on purpose because he knew going in, everybody knew I wasn't gonna like these, but he did it anyway. So Alita Battle Angel,
great movie,
is based on.
Thank you, Shichi.
Alita Battle Angel is based on a anime. You know what? Y'all gonna have to carry this conversation because y'all know what I'm gonna say. Y'all know what I'm gonna say.
I mean, Alita Battle Angel.
Alita Battle Angel, based on an anime, which was based on a manga, which is highly popular, like Ghost in the Shell. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Ghost in the Shell goes to the roller derby. That's like. So anime does this thing where they combine organized sports with like monster hunting, and I can't get with it. Like there's this heroes and villains story that's in sports at the same time, and this is not the only. Like I've seen it in a few animes, and it's weird. And they don't in American entertainment, we keep sports and heroes and villains separate. So to see it combined is always odd. Like, why do you care what's going on at the roller derby if you out here trying to like build demons and continue? I just voicing my frustrations with the genre.
I mean, I only saw the OVA.
You act like catching You act like, catching a snitch is not a part of a larger scheme in the Harry Potter series.
Not really, because he's playing against other houses. He's not playing against Death Eaters. Like, if he was playing it would be the equivalent would be him playing Quidditch against Voldemort. And that doesn't happen. Quidditch is just a small part of it. No,
Him
I no,
literally
like
I don't
legit.
playing
know. That's,
him literally playing Kidditch allowed him the ability to escape from people on the broomstick.
Yeah, that's
That
different.
was like a
That's
whole
different. But the game, it's the heroes and the villains aren't in
because
the
you
game.
like it. That's
No,
why it's different.
let me explain. The heroes and the villains are not in the game. And in anime stuff, you're literally playing against the villains. It's freaking weird. But I will say, the one time you see that is like dance movies in America. Like, what's the one with Chris Brown and them got shot? What's the
Do you
movie?
think you can?
when who got what?
When Chris Brown got shot.
That's
You got served. You got served.
Oh
Those type of
wow.
movies, in those types of movies, you do see there's an external battle within a sports dancing, but it's not. I don't know. It's not. This is stupid. I'm sorry. That's what I'm trying to get at.
can
This
we
doesn't make
talk?
a damn sense. Talk about the
Not
movie.
it.
Well, Jay tried to downplay Harry Potter in the middle of this just to make me mad. So you got what
I'm
you got.
He wasn't
not
trying to, he was
downplaying.
trying to compare
It's not the
to
same.
help, he's trying to compare it, because this is our realm, so trying to bring it to your
Y'all
realm.
made me watch this,
So
and
you
it's
better
not the same.
understand.
It's not the same.
Hey,
Chi, you want to continue?
yeah, I mean, I did not read the manga, but I saw the OVA. And pretty much this movie was, to me, better than the OVA. The OVA was like an hour long. I believe it's an hour long. And this pretty much, it takes it and stretches it like an accordion and fills in the gap. That whole roller derby part was a glimpse in the OVA. Like that didn't happen. A lot of the stuff didn't happen that was in the movie didn't happen, but it was still good. It like filled in the gaps. I liked it personally. I really did. It was entertaining.
Yeah.
I like the
As an
visuals.
anime fan, yeah, the visuals on this are amazing, and that's due to James
Absolutely
Cameron and
beautiful.
Robert Rodriguez. I think this was after Avatar. This was James Cameron's big thing of working on because he wanted this to be able to look as realistic and yet keep Alita having those anime features, and I think he did a really great job on this.
The big eyes. I
As
kept
an
saying, why is her
yeah,
eye so big?
right. As an anime fan, I honestly think this is the best live action
Mm-hmm.
remake or introduction I've ever seen.
I
10
agree.
times better than Ghost in the Shell. Um, but I also could understand why somebody who is not a fan of this type of stuff, like Cherry, could have issues because a lot of the story goes by quickly, and you wouldn't know that unless you've seen the anime or the manga.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
It's
as a visual movie, as an action movie, I haven't seen something this fluid in a really long time.
yeah. I mean, if the movie didn't make sense, the OVA is gonna make less sense because
I
because
don't think
it
the
went
movie
very
did make
fast.
sense. I do think they came in. It went by fast, but it didn't go by so fast that it was just completely over my head. I will say with Ghost in the Shell a little bit, I was like, what? This not as much. They did okay with some exposition, especially in the beginning.
Yeah,
And I think that's again towards James Cameron being a really good filmmaker and Robert Rodriguez. I did have moments where I was like, this could have been done better. Um, I agree, sadly, that the whole moment they had of like learning how to roller skate, trying to have her get introduced to the love who was bland as all bland could be, was horrible. I don't know
I
where
would
they
have
found
rather
this
them
boy.
cut the roller skating out or just made it a moment in time and not a huge theme and focused more on the whatever it is when she was hunting people type stuff. Like the roller skate to me was a distraction. It almost seemed like it was gonna be a roller derby movie in the beginning, and I thought it was unnecessary.
I mean, like I said, they pulled it
Parts
like
of
an
it,
accordion and filled it in. That the roller derby was only briefly mentioned because that's where some of the murderers came from. The one main murderer came from, and that's the only time they mentioned it because Dr. Sheeran was basically fixing up these monsters, and they were become to be the champion in the roller derby, but it was not talked about like it was in the movie.
Yeah. I also think just part of it was trying to give whoever was playing the young guy, his name was Keen Johnson, Hugo. They needed to give him story because the whole basis of Alita, like where she goes, is based on her relationship with him.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to have why is he important? But the person who played the character, Hugo, just wasn't interesting at all.
No.
I didn't care that he was with the street urchins doing bad but having a good heart. I didn't care when he fell in love with Alita and changed his mind, which came out of nowhere all of a sudden.
Out of nowhere,
It almost,
because yeah,
yeah, the
it came
movie
out of
makes
nowhere.
it seem like they've known each other for months, but in the movie,
Hmm.
it seems like it's just been a few days.
Which is
And that's
weird.
really weird to have you falling in love.
And not just because they've known each other for a few days. She's pressed on this boy, and she's only been alive a couple days, or as
But
far
you
as
gotta
her
understand, she's
consciousness is.
also a machine. Like, she's a machine. In I mean, because I saw the OVA. He did not have that feelings for her. He didn't have feelings for her in the movie. The adaptation, he kisses her. He does not in the anime. She kisses him. You know, she professes her love to him, and he's like, "Listen, I only have one love right now, and that's getting up to that floating saucer in the sky." So it was very like, come on now. It really made it seem very sappy and like a love movie versus a hardcore killing, anime.
That is the one thing that really ruined the movie for me is Alita is supposed to be a good person, but a badass completely. They did not need to add her story to this.
Yeah, I feel like if you're a robot that, as far as your consciousness is concerned, was born yesterday, you're not gonna lose it as the second you see a boy. It it's not plausible to me.
Facts.
Yeah, I mean, she has a human brain, a teenager human brain. So I mean, to her, it's like being born. You see this guy that saves your life, and is all about you, especially with you having a father who's basically trying to keep you in the house and sheltered. It's textbook here, Johnson. It's textbook.
I hear that. I just, the pacing to me made it awkward because she was pressed on him the moment she saw him, and it was literally like her first day.
Hmm.
All right, whatever. So
What did you think about Mahershala in this?
He was wonderful.
he was
He
him. I
was
mean,
he was wonderful.
I've never seen anything less from him. It was weird though, kind of to me. He didn't fit in to me. And I can't put my finger on why, but he seemed out of place, and not in that he can't act or anything. Way it just it was weird.
I mean, he's supposed to be there, but also like a shadow in the background because he deals with the underground, but only certain people know who he is and would be able to recognize him. A average person on the street, well, I guess people know who Vector is, but he's supposed to be like in the background. So I guess he played that role, in my opinion, very well. But I don't know.
It's not so much about the role of the character. I can't put my finger on. He just didn't look like he belonged in this movie. The actor.
Mm.
Because he was
Him,
black?
the actor. So that we could have replaced him with another actor. Just saying him himself, who he is.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
Like as a casting choice, it was like, okay, cool, he's a great actor, good name. Let's put him in the movie. But did he really fit? I don't know.
I'm gonna
Mm,
agree.
yeah.
He didn't fit at all to me in this. I think he was just again picked because of his name, and he is a great actor. Um, but they used him kind of like as a goon in this. Like even though he's supposed to be this really bad, important underground boss, he's only really the mouthpiece for the real boss.
Mhm.
And as the real boss, he doesn't really frighten you. And the only time you get to see him acting is when he's supposed to be acting as someone being under control.
Yeah.
So I feel like he was just a waste.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, a waste of his talent and his name. So maybe you're saying that a lesser actor could have been put in that position and had
Yeah,
the same effect.
pretty much. Yeah, I think he was just he did not fit because he himself as an actor was better than the role he was given. They could have had almost anybody
I
there.
agree. I agree. Okay,
Yeah, I agree with that.
I agree.
All right, so y'all want to do your A through Fs, Chi Chi?
Me personally, compared to the whatchamacallit, the anime, I give this a B plus. I really liked it, and the way it ended, it made it seem like there's going to be a part two. And if there is a part two, I'm going to watch it. So B plus.
Yeah, for me, I'm also going to give it a B plus. As an anime adaptation live remake, this is as good as I think it could have gotten. And the small things that I didn't like are going to be in the next movie because he's dead. So B plus.
I give it a B minus. Um, I just it's not my thing. You know, anime movies. Well, some of them can be. This one just didn't do a whole lot for me. Um, I'm trying to remember. Did we see Death Note? We saw that, right? That came out.
Yeah, I
On
mean, I don't know if
Netflix,
it
yeah.
came
There
out,
are
but Death Note was. Oh yeah, no. You guys talked about Death Note.
we
There
did we
was
did.
horrible.
There are it is not
Horrible.
that we like to just throw Cherry doesn't like anime out there, but that's not the case. I don't like all anime. There are a few that I like. Um, so part of it is a genre thing. There's nothing huge that was bad about it. It was good to look at, just not my bag. So I'm gonna just give it what I say B. I said B minus.
B minus. Yeah, you really don't like anime. For those that don't know, apparently Watermelon Drea is a character on Dragon Ball Z.
I
But
forgot.
I
Wow, you really
digress.
pulled that up. You really
I
put.
digress.
I don't like most anime. It's not that I don't like anime
Actually,
at all.
super. Yeah. It was
Yeah,
good. I think this is the best in my opinion. Like Jay said, it is the
they
best
definitely put the most
out
effort
there.
in this out of the anime adaptations I've seen.
Hmm.
Because a lot
And
of
I
them, it's
think
like they
part
didn't
of
even
that
try.
just because of I think a part of it is the fact that James Cameron himself just made
Well,
this.
yeah,
This was a personal project for him.
yeah. Well, wait, Full Metal Alchemist wasn't bad.
No, it wasn't.
The live
I
action.
mean, never finished it, but it was good. It
Yeah.
was very good from the beginning to like, yeah. I still got like 15 minutes left. But
All right.
yeah.
So let's yeah, and those little kids made me sad. It was good. It was good. Anyway. um Russian Doll is our final thing. I threw this on the agenda because everybody was talking about it, not because I was particularly interested in it. And I'm glad I did. It stars Natasha Lyonne. She's shoot, what was her name? She's from Orange is the New Black. She's the one with a bunch of hair.
Nikki,
Oh, Nikki. Yeah, Nikki on
Nikki
Orange is the New
One of
Black.
Red's babies.
Yeah. So this is everybody liked her on there on that show. She obviously has a lot of personality just in general, and she carries that over to this show, which I think is interesting. She stars in it, but she's also a creator. So she helped make this show. And if you watch the credits, the opening or closing credits, her name is all up and through the credits. She did
All executive
producing and
producing,
writing, and
all of that.
she's the star. This is her
Mhm.
baby, essentially. So how did
She did
y'all?
a interview where she said that this was kind of like almost an autobiography type work for her. So
You know what? If that's it, then it's her character Nadia is almost like if Nadia went to jail, that's where it picks up on Orange is the New Black. And that's her character Nikki. Like
The
it's
same,
they're the same.
which is
Which I feel like that's why it
scary.
was so easy for her to play this role. If that's how if that's really supposed to be an autobiography, that's why it was so easy for her to play those roles. Um, and especially Orange is the New Black.
That's unfortunate though, because her characters that she plays have an extraordinarily tough upbringing and
Hmm.
life.
Hmm. I mean, that's what the whole thing was about. She was in a perpetual loop, and I feel like she was going through stages of grief, and then now it's like she has to figure out, had to come to terms with her upbringing in order to,
Move forward.
make it stop.
Yeah, so to run it back a little bit, if you haven't seen this, essentially it's a Groundhog Day style film. I mean, a show where character lives through a day in regular day, and then they die, and then they come back and have to start that day over, and they have to do it over and over and over until they get it right. And I will say I've always hated this genre. I hated it when Groundhog's Day came out and I was like 6, and I hate it now. Marlon Wayans has a movie Naked on Netflix that does the same thing, and I've seen that movie like 5 times because my son loves it and I hate it. And this wasn't as bad because every single time she dies is so completely different that it's really not terrible that she keeps waking up and starting her day over. With the exception that I hate that song that plays at the beginning of her day because it's been
Every
stuck in my
time.
head for a
Hmm.
week.
Gotta get up,
Yeah, I can't stop singing that
gotta
song.
get
Yeah.
up in the
Yep.
morning. Gonna get
So
up.
she
Hmm.
keeps dying, and then what's cool is just when you're sick of seeing her live through her day, you find that there's a guy, Alan, who is also dying and going through the same situation as her. She finally links up with him. So just when we're tired of seeing her, they bring in a guy who's going through a similar
Yeah.
situation, but his life is completely different, and it gives you a little bit of break. So I thought that
Yeah.
was well
Oh,
timed.
he saved it. He reached it. Like episode 3 or 4, he came in, and I was just getting tired. Then I was like, wait a
Right.
minute,
Do
hold
good.
on,
Yeah, me too. Me
hold on.
too.
What is it? What's going on? You know.
And I
So
think
yeah.
this show for me, I started to like it more when it starts to get more gruesome towards the
Mm,
end. Like the beginning, okay, you get to a point where you're just tired of seeing her do the same day, but it starts to get really grim. Like there's blood, there's
yeah.
more
The way
supernatural
she's
stuff.
dying, it towards the last few episodes is.
Yeah, and when it starts to get rougher towards the end, that's when it starts to get good for me. Um,
Yeah.
so I saw there was a point online about her and Alan. The way that they're linked together, they die at the same time, right? So
Mm,
before she finds Alan, she's trying to leave the party and she keeps dying, falling down the stairs, like
yeah. She
immediately.
can't
Like
go down the
as
stairs.
so, there's a theory that Alan was really trying to kill himself more frequently than he let on
Really?
because to her, she's just falling down. It's like, why else would she? Because they die
Yeah.
together. Why else would she keep falling down the stairs? Like that's odd, right? That's odd that someone would
Oh,
die like that.
that
So
makes
they think on
sense.
his end, he tried to kill himself, realized that it didn't work, and then repeatedly kept, doing whatever it is, jumping off buildings, doing whatever, trying to kill himself over and over and over until he finally said, "You know what? I'm not going to die."
That makes
That
sense as to
actually
why
makes a
she would
lot more
do. That's
sense.
why, as to why she would take a step and die,
Yeah, because
like
she
because
would
they're
just
dying at
like
the same time.
she
Like
would
that's
walk out
crazy.
the party and just die, and it wasn't making
Die.
sense. But now that we know
That's
Alan
heartbreaking.
exists, yeah, that now that we know Alan was trying to kill
That's
himself.
heartbreaking.
Yeah,
Which
But
also
the
makes
and
sense of why Alan was on such a big thing about like just doing everything perfectly normal, because that's
mhm.
at the point he gave up. That's
Yeah,
when he
like I
thought
said,
he
they
was
were
in his
going through
own
like
personal
stages
hell.
of grief.
yeah.
Hmm.
He kept going to his ex's house to be broken up with until he met Nadia.
Hmm.
Nadia, yeah, Nadia.
Yeah, Nadia.
Um, yeah. So through them meeting each other, they basically help each other through their own death, their own life situation, and they learn that they have to go back in time. Well, not go back in time, but relive their day and fix what was wrong with it in order to move forward in time. And they do this, but they end up on separate timelines, which to me
Mhm.
was devastating. Like they become
Yeah,
such
that
good
hurt.
friends. They're each other's only friend in the world, really. And they end up in different universes essentially, and they can never ever meet. Now they go and meet each other, but they meet a version of each other that doesn't have the shared experience of repeating the day and dying. So they meet each other, but they really don't. And so to me, that was a really sad ending, and
Yeah,
that's it. There's nothing that can be done. Like that's the end of the show. I thought it was a really good ending, a poignant ending, but I thought it was really depressing as well.
yeah, I agree. Like when
Well,
that.
the,
Go ahead.
I was saying though, but at the end, after the whole, kind of it looked like a New Orleans band parade. They
Yeah.
meet at the end,
That's what it looked
so
like.
it felt
It
like
looks
they
like their
found themselves.
timelines merged, but at the same time, how could they? I don't know if that's how it works. I've seen enough what's that? The Flash to know that you can't just
Merge timelines
hop
like that.
between timelines. So I assume that they just merge the timelines together, and just to show that they're together, like they're
In
separate. The
spirit,
parts of them that know, yeah, their spirits are together, but they're not together at the same time
yeah, I
because
said
now
that to
they're about
me.
to start a new journey with
Right.
the new person that they've met and being there for that person.
That's what I took it as.
I mean, do we really believe they're both actually alive?
Yeah, because they do play with the
Oh,
idea that they're
you
dead
mean
and in purgatory.
I felt like this whole thing was them being in purgatory and them finally getting out of the tunnel together was them accepting whatever things that were keeping them about living and them
Mhm.
accepting the fact that they died. It no longer is going to bother them and to go on this new journey.
And that makes
You know what?
sense.
That makes sense because that, like, I every time that would happen, like as it progressed, I was like, dang, they are going through like the stages of grief, and the last stage of grief is acceptance.
And it makes
So
sense
Hmm.
because the
it,
key the
that's
key to it was figuring out Alan's first death. And if they're
yeah,
really dead, that's the death that matters. The other ones don't.
mhm,
The first death is the one that would,
yeah,
the real
yeah.
death.
So then it's very possible because if you look at who's in the tunnel, you see Horse, who I mean could be dead because Horse is supposed to die. I think because he sleeps that frosty night still comes, and if he's out there, he dies. So that's my assumption. But all the other people, none of the faces are familiar. So if just basing off that one person, they could be dead. And they could be transitioning to the afterlife together at like one big band parade.
I
In
don't
some
think everybody
cultures,
else is dead because that
funerals
wouldn't make
are
sense.
parties.
It wouldn't make sense for because all of her friends are at her party. Her aunt, like it wouldn't. Well, her aunt does die, but it wouldn't. There's no reason for all of those people at her party to also be dead. So I think it's just a purgatory conscious thing. I think everybody else is just like in their head or some type of psychological thing, manifestation.
Hmm.
I think the only two people that are actually there are her and the dude, her and Alan.
Hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense as to why her best friend, the Asian one, was like, I can't go. I can't go with you. Like I can't die with you. If now we're going on this whole she's in purgatory, she to accept her death. Like she's telling she's trying to get them to come with her and she can't because they're in the world of the living. But I was referring to the tunnel, like the
Oh
tunnel, who
yeah.
else was in it that we can recall? These are unfamiliar faces. These could be other people going with them transitioning, like, hey, come on, let's go with, heaven is a party or, yeah, heaven is a party. Let's all go together. Come on. Thanks for joining us.
Or
You
and why
know,
else would homeless people have a parade?
Thank you. Where
That
do they
didn't
get
Exactly.
make
those
like what
hats?
event is this?
Yeah. So that's not, if that's it, it makes it even more morbid. Like, it's a whole different sense of, wow. Yep.
Yeah.
It's just
Yep.
shows this is whack.
They were definitely going through the stages of grief. Like that. It is crazy. At least for Nadia's part, we were able to see from beginning to the end, and she was definitely going through it. So I do believe that she died. You know, got hit by a car looking
Because the
for
thing with
oatmeal.
me, usually with these type of movies and these genres, you never get the real explanation of how the hell is somebody going back in time continuously like that. It's never
Mhm.
really good. But with this one, with how metaphysical they made it and how tied to spirit, I just felt like the
Yeah.
only thing that makes sense is the fact that they both died, so happened at the same time,
Yep.
and they both were going through the situation through purgatory. And once they realized the stuff they needed to realize and let go of the stuff they needed to let go, that's when Horse came out randomly with this whole parade, and they meld together, and they're like, where are they going all happily in hand together?
Yeah.
Like, other than
Yeah.
heaven to me. You don't just meet each other Monday morning for coffee the next day.
Exactly.
If
That's
this was
true.
real life, I don't ever want to see your face again, ever.
Wow. But I mean, yeah, that's true. So whew, that's heavy. That's real heavy.
Yeah, it shows
That's
heavy.
real heavy. I didn't even think about that sense of it. I didn't, Google and things like that to see what other people thought of the movie. And I took my own perspective on it. But hearing that, it's like, wow, that definitely makes sense. And it's very heavy, very, very heavy. And it makes the movie even better.
Yeah. I didn't think it was good, but I definitely think it was a tad bit heavy. Heavy is it's not sad, it's not depressing, it's heavy.
It's heavy. They took a
Yeah.
common topic, a common, genre and put a little twist on it.
And it's
Just
short.
added
It's
some lemon juice on it. Made it a little bit fresher.
it's like what,
So
8 episodes and 30 minutes apiece?
yeah, 8 episodes. Yeah,
That's all you
easy to
Hmm.
get
need.
through.
That's all you need. You don't need much
No,
more than
they did it. They did it right, making it an hour and eight episodes an hour each would have dragged it. They gave it enough time and enough time to kind of go through it without it seeming long and just boring, or nor like too quick. So
it feels
And I
Like
think it also,
it feels like a short story to me. Like you're in AP English Lit and you have to read this and then your teacher has to break down because you didn't understand any of the
Yeah.
themes and now you have to have a sit and have a conversation and realize none of the characters are who you thought they were. It has that vibe. And I
Yeah.
think that's deliberate. Like they talk about Anna Green Gables and you know, it's there's similar parallels between her and Emily and Nadia and it has that higher level high school English feel. But Jay, you were saying something?
I was just saying, I feel like this is good for Natasha because she really did make this play to her strengths.
And honestly, it was probably cathartic for her. Like it was probably she's probably dancing down the sewer with her friends at the end, you know, in real life too.
No, I
You know,
mean,
she got it seemed like she got a lot of stuff off her chest.
yeah, yeah,
Definitely.
yeah.
Yeah.
If this was supposed to be autobiographical and cathartic to her, then I mean, then we really know what this was about. Her dealing with her probably own feelings of wanting to die or her own past
Childhood
transgressions and like how do
drug
you get past
addiction.
it? Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. There's a lot to this that once you the way I saw it, it was like wow, this is really powerful. I wouldn't know if I could just recommend this to everybody, but
It's not for
it
everybody.
definitely is. Yeah, it is definitely an interesting twist to something that can absolutely get old if it's not done right.
And if
Yeah.
you lack the ability to analyze critically, you will not enjoy this because there's not a lot by the way of just pure entertainment.
No,
It's
no,
really
not at
a
all.
think piece. And I think that's what I was getting at by saying it's like an English lit short story. It's not particularly entertaining as much as it's something to think about.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Made you really thinking. I actually told myself that I'm going to rewatch it because there's stuff that I feel was happening in the background that, didn't really pay attention to. And yeah.
Yeah, there's a ton of Easter eggs.
Mm-hmm.
The
Mm-hmm.
one thing
Like,
I really loved
go ahead.
was the one thing I really loved was the guy that Alan had issues with who was sleeping with
Mike,
his
Like
girlfriend through a mic. When he says, "I'm not the guy," or "I'm not the thing," I'm just
the
the thing
whole
that's
that,
placed in for the
yeah.
whole. I thought that was a very strong statement. Like he just knew no one really liked him, no one
Mm-hmm.
really cared about him.
Mm-hmm.
He's just there because someone always needs a hole to be filled, and he's a temporary hole filler.
Yeah.
woo, in more ways than one. All right,
Ways.
so let's
Yeah.
get let's
Mm-hmm.
get into the grades because it's time to wrap it up here. I'll go first since I've been making y'all go first. I give this show an A, just a regular A. It starts off a little slow, so that's why I didn't get the A plus. But it was good and it was deep and it gave us something to think about. And I will still be thinking about this and talking about this after this episode. But I recommend it for those of you who are critically minded. If you're looking for something like Power where you can just sit and be entertained, this ain't it. But if you want to think, it's pretty good. So I give it an A. Chi Chi, what do you give it?
I also give it an A. I really like it. Like I actually want to go and run through it again afterwards, just to see things. It really, the heaviness of it, I just need to see it again to kind of relieve that heaviness and make myself feel better. But it was a really good, and I'm a critical thinker. And from the end of the first episode, I was already, cogs were just moving. So I really give it an A. It was a very good movie, good series, Netflix series.
Jay?
Yeah, I'm gonna give it an A because it was everything you guys said, but more importantly, this is the feeling I wanted to have after Bandersnatch. This was the thinking I really
Yes.
wanted to
Right.
experience
You're
after
right.
Bandersnatch.
Bandersnatch made you feel empty afterwards, or like, what was this? What was
Right.
this? What I just watched?
This is kind of what I was hoping for. So it's really good. I definitely do want to watch it again, like Chichi said, to see if I see any of the background Easter eggs. But it was good, and it came out of nowhere, which is really a plus.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we talked about this a little bit at the end of the Bandersnatch episode about it being a good by the way of technology, and it was a good setup and it was perfect delivery. However, the plot was missing, and if we could combine this level of thought with that level of execution, we'd have something amazing. But that's a tall ask for anybody. So we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. I'm going to get into the notes and we will be out of here. I just want to say, thank you to everyone who follows us on Twitch. Our Twitch has now reached 100 followers, which if you're familiar with the platform, that's actually pretty darn good. It's hard. It's really hard to get people on Twitch. So thank you everyone who follows. If you don't follow us, go to Twitch, twitch.tv/Black Nerd Cast. Black Nerd CAST as in podcast. Give us a follow, watch us. We're on there live all the time doing our gaming and stuff. And every now and then we do a surprise stream of something else. As always, subscribe to us in iTunes, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Stitcher, Google Play, anywhere you find podcasts, you can subscribe to us. Follow us on Twitter at Black Nerd Cast. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/Negro Justice League. Make sure you look at negrojusticeleague.com. We have a lot of blogs that pop up, and our store is there. If you want any merchandise, you can go to the shop tab and you can buy whatever you want. Follow us again on twitch.tv/Black Nerdcast and rate and review us on every platform, particularly iTunes and Facebook. Next episode, we will be talking about Abducted in Plain Sight, Velvet Buzzsaw, and Conversations with the Killer, the Ted Bundy tapes. It is going to be very interesting. If you're familiar with those titles, you'll know what they have in common. And we'll get into that a little more next episode. So that is all for now. I am Cherry, and this was the Negro Justice League.